Josh Green here for SecondsOut. Delighted to be joined by Spencer Oliver here in Paris. Some big opportunities for the Brits coming over to France this weekend, aren't there?
There really is. It's it's a great show. Really looking forward to this one. Actually, Dan Aziz is a kid that he likes to do things on the road, man, and he's done it the old school way, and I love that, by the way. Do you know what I mean? Going from like southern area to English to British, Commonwealth, and now he's going for this European title against Thomas Fall, who's the hometown boy. So like I say, Dan Aziz travelling on the road, big opportunity, but it's a fight I think he wins, and he's old school Dan. I like him, and he's improving all the time.
I think something with Dan Aziz that's been highlighted so many times is the route he's taken to get to this stage. And as you mentioned there, even back home he's fighting away up in the northwest, down on the south coast. It won't bother him coming into a hostile atmosphere, will it?
Absolutely not. You know what? His idol is Marvin Hagler, and we see that. He does that representation with the high socks and all that, and he fights similar to sort of Hagler, where he comes forward, hustles and bustles, and he done all that on the road as well. Hagler, he doesn't mind fighting on the other guy's backyard. Dan Aziz, if anything, good champions feed off that. And I think that's what Dan Aziz does, I think he feeds off that. I think he's looking forward to the challenge of coming here, fighting for that European title, and it's another step towards world title glories. I mean, there's a big opportunity for him. He's number 2 with the WBA. Joshua Boyce is number 1 with the WBA. So there's big fights out there with other British fighters as well, but he has to win that European title on Saturday night. But I believe he'll do that, definitely.
The progression for Dan seems to have come so quickly over the last 18 months or so. He's gone from being not in the spotlight and fighting on these smaller shows, and now he's coming to Paris, into the backyard, and he's a heavy favourite to go and win a European title. You have to feel like that world title, it wasn't actually that far away now.
Do you know what? He's got a lot of momentum with him, and you said it, Josh, like he's done it the hard way. And I like that, because what happens is fighters have got time to develop and they learn, do you know what I mean? Like, he's boxed in the away corner on number of occasions, he's not the hometown fighter, so he doesn't mind the hostile crowd, and he'll have that on Saturday night. But like I say, that's what he'll do, he'll feed off that. And I'm expecting a big performance from Dan Aziz. He's got Buddy McGirt now in his corner, which is another bonus. Great trainer. He's been out there training camp out in Florida, and I bet we're going to see a really good performance. I'm quite confident of that.
Big opportunities as well for Lauren Price and Macaulay McGowan. Macaulay's obviously got a few losses on his record, but he'd keep getting these opportunities, and you think if he does take one, there's big things to come from him. Yeah,
absolutely. I spoke to Macaulay earlier on today. Actually, we had a good chat in our hotel. He's a confident young man, and he sees this as a massive opportunity. He's going in against an unbeaten fighter, and he's in the other guy's backyard. So it's but his opponent hasn't boxed for a couple of years, and he sees it as a big opportunity, and Macaulay McGowan sees this as a chance to capture, what's the word I'm looking for? Not capture, a chance to catapult himself back up there, do you know what I'm saying, after a few losses. So, it's a big opportunity for him, and I'm looking forward to that.
The main event as well, Tony Yoka, obviously, unexpected loss in many people's eyes to Martin McCauley last time out. He sort of went off the track that we were expecting, and we expected him just to rise and rise. It's very important that he gets a win against Tackham this weekend, isn't it?
It's a must-win situation here, really, for Tony Yoka. Who's captured Olympic gold in 2016, albeit a controversial decision over Joyce. And you look where Joyce has gone now, and where all the the guys that were in and around that sort of time, like Lawrence McCauley was from that Olympic squad, and you look where they've all gone, and they've gone into world honours, or they're knocking on the door. Tony Yoka needs to make up some ground after that loss to Martin McCauley. I mean, he was expected to win that fight, but McCauley's like the dark horse of the division. He's one of those guys that you can't underestimate, and Yoko, he won that fight and won it comfortably against Yoka. So Yoka's got something to prove here on Saturday night. Carlos Tackham, as we know, is tough. He's proven. Yes, he's 42 years of age, and yes, he does normally lose to the big names in the division, but he always gives them a fight, and so it's going to be a good fight, this one. Both guys on home soil here, and I'm expecting fireworks. I expect Yoka to win, but it's a must-win for him. If he doesn't, it's going to be a tough road back.
Couldn't get you without speaking about some other subjects in the world of boxing, and we'll start with Fury against Usyk. It seems to have been going on for so long now, and we thought we were going to get that fight. Coming out recently that it looks more unlikely. Do you think we still see that, and what do you think needs to be done to make sure we do?
I'm not sure we see it next, if I'm totally honest. I think April 29th. I think Frank Warren was saying the deadline has to be this week. We're now this week. We're on Friday. So I don't think we get that fight. I don't think it happens next. April 29th was the date originally. Negotiations broke down. They was looking at Saudi at the end of January. I think both guys got offers. Tyson Fury didn't accept the offer that he wanted. There was not enough money on the table. So yeah, it's frustrating again because we want that undisputed, and we've been talking about it for a few years now, haven't we? But unfortunately, I don't think we get it again. I'm not sure who Fury fights next, if I'm totally honest. I think April 29th might still be the date, but I'm not sure who that person will be. But I don't see it Oleksandr Usyk. I think we're too close now.
If Joe Joyce wasn't in a fight with Zhang, do you think that would have possibly wanted to go at?
Joe Joyce would bite his hand off for that opportunity, because Joe Joyce is one of those fighters that, that's what he wants. He wants the big fights. He's ready for that. He's proven now, Joe Joyce. If there was any doubt about Joe Joyce and what sort of level he was at, you got to look at the Joseph Parker fight, and you would take a lot from that. Parker's a world-class operator, and the way that Joyce dealt with him was very, very impressive. If anyone out there at the moment, any heavyweight out there at the moment can beat Tyson Fury, it would be Joe Joyce. He's the one that would probably give him the most problems. Joyce is sort of unorthodox, big, strong, keeps coming, takes a good shot. Yeah, that would be a good fight. That's a fight that I want to see in the future. But Zhang, for the April the 15th, that's a tough fight, man. Like, Zhang was proven, he proved how good he is against Filip Hrgovic. He gave Hrgovic a tough fight. A lot of people felt that Zhang won that one, didn't go his way. So yeah, it's a tough fight for Joyce. That styles make fights. Both guys will meet in the centre of the ring. Both guys are huge as well. I'm looking forward to that. I really am. I expect Joyce to win, and I expect him to win, mid-rounds, something like that. But Zhang can't be taken lightly. He's one of those guys, potential banana skin.
Another heavyweight we have to talk about is Anthony Joshua, coming up just under a month's time, I think, against Jermaine Franklin. Many people thought Jermaine Franklin beat Dillian Whyte. Is this a harder test than people are seeing it? Absolutely.
It's one of those banana skins again, isn't it, with Anthony Joshua and Franklin. Franklin's was unproven coming over here. No one really knew. Yes, he had an impressive record, but no names on it. No one knew how good he was, and he proved himself against Dillian Whyte. A lot of people felt that he got that fight. Even if he didn't, it was down to the wire. It was very, very close. So he's a worthy, he's a worthy opponent. He really is. And Joshua's, taken himself away. He's gone over to America. Shows that he's still got the appetite for it. By doing that, he's showing his commitment. Training over there with Derek James, learning new stuff, and hopefully we see that on the 1st of April. I hope we see a new, improved Anthony Joshua, because it is a dangerous fight. It's a tough fight, but people are not giving it the credit that it deserves, because no one really knows Franklin, and they want to see Joshua obviously in the big fights. He wants the big fights, and let's hope he's a couple of wins away from getting back in the mix again, because he's good for heavyweight boxing. He's good for the sport. So let's hope he can get himself back there, and April the 1st is his first step towards that.
Final thing I have to talk to you about is Conor Benn and the recent interview on Piers Morgan. Did you watch it, first of all?
I did, yeah, I watched it. I didn't think it was a particularly good interview for Conor Benn, if I'm totally honest. I don't think it done him any favours. Didn't really give us any answers. I think the answers that we need to know are: present your evidence, the 270-page dossier that you've got, present that to the British Boxing Board of Control, clear your name, move on with your career. But his response to that was, no, the British Boxing Board can do one. We'll go, well, that's making you look even more guilty when you say things like that, because the British Boxing Board, just give them the evidence and clear your name, mate. If you can't do that, then you're gonna have, it's always going to be murky water hanging over you. And yeah, I didn't really take anything from that. I think I wouldn't have advised him to do that interview on the answers that he gave there. And I didn't think it done him any favours.
And they're saying even Conor Benn, Manny Pacquiao is in the works, and we could be seeing that made in the next even few weeks. Do you feel like there's a lot that needs to be done before we see Conor Benn back in the ring?
Of course I do. I think he needs to clear his name, and I think the only way he's going to do that is by presenting this evidence, and I don't think he's going to do that, because I don't think that they've got enough in the evidence, because the bottom line is that the British Boxing Board of Control say that you have to be in control of everything. You have to be responsible for everything that goes in your body. I don't know if you saw that interview, and it was flying around on social media where he said, oh, it could have been contamination of food. Well, you've got to be in control, and perhaps that's why he doesn't want to present the evidence, because the evidence is not strong enough for him to say, well, it is. Do you know what I'm saying? Because otherwise, I don't get why he wouldn't present that evidence. You know, so yeah, it's a tricky one, and I think that he needs to clear his name. I'm not sure he's going to do that. I think that he's just going to go out and box in Abu Dhabi. I think that Eddie Hearn was talking about possibly in June, possibly Manny Pacquiao. Could we see him in there with Chris Eubank Jr. again? Who knows? You know, that's another possibility. Kell Brooks, you know, another name that's there. I think they've got 3 names out there at the moment. It'd be interesting to see, yeah, what happens, but I don't think we'll see him boxing on British soils anytime soon, because he has to clear his name, and I'm not sure he's going to do that.
Just finally, for all the wrong reasons, is Benn against Eubank Jr. a bigger fight now than it was when it was first made?
I think it's always a big fight, just because of the father's legacies and whatnot, you know what I mean? But I just think that at the moment with Conor and his situation, he's not a fan's favourite because of the situation, because of the way that he's dealt with it. The way that he's dealt with it has all been wrong in my eyes. You know, I think that they left it too long, and then, you know, he kept saying he's cleared his name and he's got the evidence to prove that, but he's not presented it. It just don't make any sense whatsoever. Well, present it, mate. Simple. Do you know what I mean? We just don't, why say, like, my pride's getting in the way, I'm not giving it to the boxing board, my dad tore up his licence, so, you know, I'm not doing it. That's not helping the situation. So yeah, it's down to him. You know, I think that Eddie Hearn and Connor Benn and his team have decided what route they're going to take and what they're going to do. But I don't think we see him boxing on British soil in the foreseeable future.
All right, perfect. Really appreciate your time, Spencer, and see you on Saturday night.
Look forward to it, Joyce.